I never thought I'd be writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Mike, and honestly, I feel like I've been hit by a freight train. I've been with my wife, Sarah, for about 7 years now. We got married after a whirlwind romance. Everything seemed perfect, at least from the outside. She was stunning, confident, the kind of woman everyone looked at and thought, yeah, she's got it all. I was happy, or so I thought. Lately, though, I'd started noticing little things. She'd be texting someone constantly, more than usual, and hiding her phone when I came near. She'd get defensive when I asked about her day, dismiss it with some attitude like I was bothering her. She also started dressing differently, more provocative, more confident, like she was trying to show off to someone. I brushed it off at first, thinking maybe she was just trying to spice up our sex life, or maybe she was just tired of the same old routine. But then, little things started adding up. She'd come home late without telling me where she'd been, always with some vague excuse. Work dinner, she'd say. A friend needed me. But I knew she was lying. I could see the flicker of guilt behind her eyes, the nervous glances she'd give when I'd ask too many questions. Still, I didn't want to jump to conclusions. I trusted her, or at least I tried to. I mean, she was my wife. She was supposed to be honest, loyal, but something felt off and I couldn't ignore it anymore. Then came the night I found the receipts. It was just a regular evening. I decided to check her purse after she went to bed. She's not a very good liar, honestly. I've caught her in little lies before, but this time I found something that knocked the wind out of me: hotel receipts. Not just one, but several, all for nights she claimed she was working late or out with her friends. But these receipts were from a hotel downtown, a place I knew well. I'd passed by it dozens of times, never thought much of it. The receipts showed dates that matched her supposed work dinners, but the hotel was too upscale for a casual work event. And the room charges were high, too high for just her. I looked closer and saw her name, Mrs. Sarah Collins. My heart started pounding. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. I didn't want to believe it at first. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe she was hiding something innocent. But then I remembered the way she'd been acting, secretive, tense, the late nights, the texts. It all clicked. I waited until she was asleep, then printed out the receipts and sat there staring at them in the dark. The anger boiled inside me. How could she lie to me, to my face, for so long? I kept telling myself I must be overreacting, but deep down, I knew the truth was worse than I'd imagined. The woman I married, the one I thought I knew better than anyone, was sleeping with my best man, James. I saw the receipts, and that's when everything shattered. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I'd been run over by a truck. My mind was racing, trying to process what I'd discovered. I didn't want to jump into anything without thinking, but I knew I couldn't keep pretending I didn't know. I had to confront her. I also knew I had to be careful. Sarah was the queen of lying, and I didn't want her to spin this into some kind of drama where I looked like the crazy one. Still, I couldn't just ignore it. She was in the kitchen, pouring herself a coffee, acting like everything was normal. I stood there, clutching the receipts in my hand, watching her pretend. Her perfect, bitchy little smile, the way she walked around like she owned the place. I felt my stomach tighten. I took a deep breath and decided to get it over with. "Sarah," I said quietly but firmly. Turned, raising an eyebrow. "Can we talk?" I was trying to keep my voice even, but there was a tremor underneath. She looked at me with that smirk she always used when she was about to lie her ass off. "Sure, baby, what's up?" she asked, her tone fake sweet. I pulled out the receipts, laid them on the table between us. "Care to explain these?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Her face flickered for a second, then she suddenly turned defensive. "Those, oh, those are just some work expenses. You know how it is with clients, Mike. Sometimes you gotta put on a good face, buy drinks, that kind of thing." She looked at me, eyes wide with innocence that I knew was fake as hell. She scoffed a little, brushing past me. "Honestly, you're overthinking it. You're jealous. Maybe I should be asking you who you've been sneaking around with." I felt my blood boil. The way she was lying, the way she refused to admit the truth, made my stomach churn. I couldn't believe I'd been so blind. I asked her to sit down, and when she hesitated, I knew she was trying to think up some new lie, some way out of this mess, but I wasn't having it. "I want to hear the truth, Sarah, right now. Did you cheat on me with James?" I demanded. Her eyes widened at the mention of his name. She blinked rapidly, trying to hold her composure, but I saw the guilt creeping in. She scoffed again, crossing her arms. Whatever you think you saw, it's not what you think. You're jumping to conclusions because you're insecure, she snapped. James and I are just friends. I don't know what those receipts are supposed to mean. Maybe someone's framing me. Maybe you're just too paranoid. Her voice was rising, full of bitchy attitude, trying to dismiss it like it was no big deal. But I wasn't buying it. I knew better. I saw her lies for what they were. I felt betrayed, humiliated, angry. How could she think I'd buy that bullshit? I stared at her for a long moment, realizing that I was stuck in this nightmare. I didn't want to believe it, but the evidence was right there in front of me. And her reaction. It only confirmed what I already knew deep down. She was lying, hiding something, and I didn't trust her anymore. The days that followed were a blur. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Every time I looked at her, I saw that smirk, that fake innocence she wore so well. She kept up the act, pretending everything was fine, like I was overreacting, like I was some jealous fool. But I knew better. I saw her sneaking around, I saw her lies, and most of all, I saw the way she looked at James, like he was her secret, her escape. That realization made me sick. I started questioning myself. Was I ever enough? Did I miss signs? How could I have been so blind? I replayed everything, the late nights, the strange texts, her changing attitude. I even found her hiding her phone once, quickly deleting messages when I walked in. That was the moment I decided enough was enough. I wasn't going to be some fool to her lies anymore. One evening, I decided to go through her phone. I'd never done that before, but I was desperate. I needed the truth. And sure enough, I found what I suspected. Messages exchanged between her and James, explicit, flirtatious, the kind that made my stomach turn. They were talking about meeting up, about sex, about who was better between us. I felt the punch in my gut as I scrolled through them. So much for her pretending she was innocent. That night I sat her down again. This time I didn't hold back. I laid everything out, the receipts, the messages, everything I'd uncovered. Her reaction was fast and vicious. She threw her head back and laughed bitterly. "Oh, please," she sneered. "You think I'd actually cheat on you? James and I are just friends. You're so insecure, Mike. You're imagining things." Her voice dripped with sarcasm. "You're always accusing me of stuff. Maybe I should start accusing you of cheating, huh? Maybe you're the one hiding something." I looked at her, furious and numb at the same time. Her words didn't mean anything anymore. The woman I loved, the woman who used to be kind and sweet, was now just a bitchy, manipulative liar. And James, I knew he was involved, but I hadn't confronted him yet. I didn't know whether I wanted to or if I even could. All I knew was that my entire life, my marriage, everything I thought I knew was falling apart. The more I thought about it, the more I realized I had two choices: keep pretending I didn't see what was right in front of me or face the truth head on. But honestly, the pain was unbearable. I felt like I'd lost a part of myself. I'd trusted her with everything and she betrayed me with my best man. How do you even deal with that? How do you come back from something like this? That's what I kept asking myself over and over. After that night of revelations, I knew I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. The betrayal cut deep. I wanted to scream, to cry, but mostly I just felt numb. The woman I'd married, the person I thought I knew best, had been lying to my face for months. And James, my supposed best man, was in on it. It wasn't just a fling. It was something serious enough for her to spend nights in some fancy hotel, hiding the truth from me. I decided I needed to confront James. Not just for closure, but I guess part of me wanted to see what kind of guy he really was. Was he just a cheater like her, or was he something even worse? I wasn't planning to play nice. I wanted answers, and I wanted to see how far this betrayal went. I reached out to James through a burner number I got just for the hell of it. I told him I knew everything, that I was coming to see him, and if he had any balls, he'd meet me. He didn't hesitate. His reply was quick, cocky almost. "Meet me wherever you want. Let's end this." When I saw him standing there, calm and confident, I wanted to punch him right in the face, but I played it cool, or at least I tried. We ended up in a parking lot late at night. The air was cold and I could feel my veins boiling with rage. "James," I said, voice low but clenched, "you've been sleeping with my wife. How long has this been going on?" He smirked, crossing his arms. "It's nothing personal, Mike. Sarah's hot and I guess I got caught up in the moment. You're a good guy, but she's got a fire I couldn't resist." That made me see red. How could he talk like that? Like it was some game, some casual thing. I felt my fists tighten, but I kept my cool. I told him I wasn't interested in some petty fight, but I wanted to know what the hell he thought he was doing with my wife. He shrugged, still smirking. Look, man, I didn't come here to kiss your ass. You're married, I get it, but she's not the innocent girl you think she is. She's got a mind of her own. She wanted this just as much as I did. That was the moment I realized how deep this went. James wasn't just some random guy. He was just as invested as her, maybe even more so. They both knew what they were doing. My wife wasn't some victim here. She was a willing participant hiding behind her lies. I left that night feeling hollow. The betrayal wasn't just in her lies, but in how deeply I'd been played. I'd trusted her, loved her, and she'd repaid that with sex and secrets. The pain was overwhelming, but part of me also felt a strange sense of clarity. The woman I thought I knew was gone, and I knew I had to make some serious decisions now. The days after the confrontation with James felt like a blur of confusion and anger. I couldn't sleep, couldn't focus. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, that fake smile she put on when she lied, her eyes flashing with guilt and defiance. I kept replaying everything I'd found, everything she'd done behind my back. It was like I'd been living in some nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I couldn't stay in that house anymore. Every corner, every piece of furniture seemed to scream betrayal. I packed a bag, told her I was staying at my brother's place for a few days to clear my head. Her reaction was typical. She threw a fit, yelled, called me paranoid and insecure. But I didn't care. I needed space to breathe, to figure out what I really wanted. In those days, I did a lot of thinking. I realized I was at a crossroads. I could try to forgive her, pretend it didn't happen, and hope things got better. Or I could cut my losses, walk away, and try to rebuild my life from scratch. Honestly, I was leaning toward the latter. I trusted her for so long, and she'd shattered that trust into 1,000 pieces. I couldn't see myself ever looking at her the same way again. One night, I sat in my brother's living room, staring at my phone, debating whether to call her. Part of me still loved her, wanted to believe there was some way to fix this. But then I thought about the lies, the cheating, the way she looked at James like he was her escape plan. That's when it hit me. The only way to find peace was to walk away completely. No more pretending, no more hiding, just truth. I made the decision that night. I was going to tell her I was leaving for good. It was the hardest thing I'd ever done. When I went back to the house the next day, her face was a mix of confusion and anger. "You're really doing this?" she spat, crossing her arms. "You're just going to walk away?" I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "Yeah, I am. I can't be with someone who lies to my face, who cheats on me with my best man. I deserve better than this shit." My voice was cold, but I felt free for the first time in days. Her response was a bitter laugh. "You're such a loser. You think you're the only one who's hurt. I was just bored, Mike. It's not like I loved James or anything. I was just having some fun. You're overreacting." That was the last straw. I knew she wasn't going to take responsibility. She always played the victim, always spun her lies. I wanted out before I got even more hurt. I packed up what I could, told her I was filing for divorce, and left. As I drove away, I felt a strange mixture of relief and pain. It hurt so much to let go of what I thought was real, but I knew staying would only make me more miserable. Now, sitting here, reflecting on everything, I realize some things. Trust is fragile. People can lie and cheat and still act like everything's normal until the truth explodes. I learned that sometimes walking away is the best revenge, even if it's the hardest. I won't lie, I still feel the ache of betrayal, but I also feel a strange sense of hope. Maybe one day I'll find someone who won't lie to me, who won't cheat behind my back. But for now, I'm just trying to rebuild myself from the ruins of this mess. Looking back, I honestly don't know how I managed to get through it all. The betrayal cut so deep I thought I'd never recover, but somehow I did. I've learned a lot from this nightmare. Things I wish I hadn't had to learn the hard way, but lessons nonetheless. Trust is fragile. It takes years to build, but only seconds to destroy. Sarah's lies and her affair with James opened my eyes to the fact that people can hide their true selves behind a pretty face and a fake smile. I'll admit, part of me still feels angry, angry at her, at James, even at myself for trusting so blindly. But I also feel a strange sense of clarity. Now I see things more clearly. I see red flags I ignored, the little signs I brushed off, the moments I should have paid more attention to. But I also see that I can't control other people. I can only control how I respond. This experience has changed me. I'm not the same guy I was before. I'm more cautious now, more aware of how fragile relationships are, how much lies can hurt. I've started focusing on myself, on healing and rebuilding my confidence. I know now that I deserve someone who values honesty, respect, and loyalty. Someone who won't lie to me or cheat behind my back. The hardest part is letting go of the hope that things could somehow be different. That maybe, just maybe, she'd change or I'd find some magic way to fix this. But I know that's not realistic. Some things are broken beyond repair. And as much as it hurts, I've accepted that I had to walk away for my own sanity and peace. If there's anything I want other guys to take from this, it's this: trust your instincts. Don't ignore the warning signs. And when someone shows you who they really are, believe them. Because the truth, no matter how ugly, is always better than living in a lie. Right now, I'm still healing, still trying to figure out what's next. But I know one thing for sure: this experience has made me stronger. It's shown me that I can survive the worst pain and come out the other side. Maybe someday I'll find love again, someone who truly deserves my loyalty. Until then, I'll focus on myself, rebuild what was broken, and never let anyone betray me like that again.